do not want to be in the spotlight.
Okay, hold on, it's not working. There we go. Okay. Hello, everybody in TV land. I'm gonna mute you guys. Oh, there we go. Welcome. Today it is Christmas Eve, and I'm a very pagan person, but I figured that coming to you as a stag with this little jester would be a good plan. So yeah, my stag costume, also known as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Stag, pagan symbol. Okay, let's start breathing. Inhale, stretch your arms out and up. Reach it out, open up. Once you get up there to the top, just see if you can reach a little bit longer. Stretch a little longer on each side. Feel your feet on the floor and feel your arms reaching up. And kind of like cats do that scrabbling thing. Do that to the ceiling, do that to the sky, just reaching up, shifting your weight. So we're actually just stretching out these fascial trains through the whole body. And then let's do it like you're gonna go up there and you're gonna spiral in and out. So spiraling in and out on one side, on the other. You can just keep breathing, letting this fill up your lungs, but like you're turning on or turning off something, screwing in a light bulb over your head. Let that come all the way down into your rotator cuff, into your shoulders. Yeah, so we're calling this class Suppleness, lower back and shoulders. And I have to say, my lower back, this whole section was hurting this morning because I taught a ballet class yesterday. Duh. All right, let's spiral from there. So spiraling, twisting, looking around behind you. And it wouldn't be so bad if I had stretched out my hips after teaching the ballet class, but I didn't. And I did a lot of walking yesterday. So when I walk a lot, I need to stretch my back a lot more. And sometimes I just need to roll around on the floor. So we're going to do some of that today. And let's go with the shoulders rotating in and out. So like having our jazz moment, right? Jazz walks, shifting your weight. Good movement and dance are just so interconnected. I was saying this in class yesterday, or Thursday, that I see all these movement people on, let's circle the wrists, flamenco dancer arms up to the ceiling. Feel that coming into your heart, lungs, ribs, wings of the heart, diaphragm. You can circle in one direction and the other, just keep changing it, but really feel that the arms are connected into your body. So it's not just these things out there on the edge, but there's a sense of connection. Yeah, I was watching all of these different movement people on Instagram, mostly men, but sometimes women. And they're doing they're really into it. Like, oh, here's this thing I can do. But always like their feet look kind of gimpy at the end. Like they're not connecting the whole line. I'm like, oh, you guys just take some dance classes for the love of God. All right, let's put me right into second position. Knees over your toes and press through the floor. Knees over your toes, holding the space, press it up. It's like if you love movement that much, just dance, because you will find so much of that stuff in there. Maybe it's all part of it. I'm such a maximalist. I want to do it all. Good. And then we're going to come into parallel and we're going to do the breath. Inhale, exhale. Let's do 3 sets of 12. So hopefully I'll count it in my head and you'll count it too. Off we go. Yeah, I realized partway through that I super wasn't counting, but I think that was around 12. Just shake everything out. Let it go. Inviting the lymphatic fluid to really start moving through our body. So we're detoxing through movement, detoxing through breath. Like these are 2 great ways of detoxing. And if we start sweating, even more detoxification, right? Clearing out the stuff. Yeah, we sometimes think that sweating is a bad thing. It's a good thing. We need to sweat the shit out. We need to sweat stuff out. We're going to do that again, just shutting a door. Once I get really excited teaching and I start kind of yelling, I'm like, oh yeah, Anthony's still sleeping. I should shut the doors. Off we go again. Just imagine you're reaching up, grabbing that health and inspiration from up here and bringing it in. Off we go. Good, shake it out, let it go. Relax your face. Peapod is cleaning herself here. She is also detoxifying the outside of her body, probably taking in a lot of dust, cleaning me. Okay, third set. Inhale up, exhale down. This one, let's try. I was doing in through my nose and out through my mouth for those last ones. Let's try in and out through the nose. It might feel like you're doing less, but give it a shot. Shake it out. I feel like sometimes, and let's just do a really quick little face thing for people who have stuffed up noses. We're just going to do the lymph from here into the face. So you're going to take your hand, right hand into the left clavicle, clearing up that subclavian vein, the area where that is, the lymph is returning back into the bloodstream. You can turn your head from side to side. Relax your neck and jaw, relax your tongue, suppleness in your body, letting go, right? If we want to be supple, we want to let go of some of the tension that we might be holding on to. Same thing on the other side. Let it go. How much holding is in your face? If you can go and your lips can kind of flap around and you're releasing your face. Actually, it took me a long time to be able to do that at all. Anthony does it all the time. And I was like, I would do it. It'd be really silly. And now it's starting to release enough. Like whatever the holding pattern I have in my face is starting to let go. All right, let's take our hands right into the angle of the jaw. Relax your neck and tongue. Can make some noise. Humming. Where we then inhale back through our nose. Is going to increase the production of nitric oxide. And that is a antifungal, antiviral, and antibacterial. And actually I was feeling like I was getting a virus, and I did 2 days of like maybe 5 minutes each time of the humming, and like I felt it cleared up. So this stuff really can work. All right, so we've got that angle of the jaw place. Now we're going to go into our face, right next to your nose. And a lot of times people think, oh, my nose is really stuffed up, there's nothing I can do about it. But you can move the tissue of your face. You can get things shifting around, right? This is all made of water. So like we can shift stuff around. So fingers right next to, I'm using my middle finger because it feels good right there. There's a little indentation next to your nose. Get in there, small circles. And you can move your face around inside of that. Yeah, don't think that you don't have any control over what's going on inside. You may not be able to totally fix it in one shot, but by spending some time with it and shifting things around, you can change it. So I'm now moving my fingers up and down in this while making a circle. And this is my face. Looks really good, really sexy. I have a good look. All right, squish it up. Okay, and then you're going to come around under your cheekbone. I just move that tissue. Relax your tongue. Coming all the way in to here. Right there, that thing is called your tragus. I'm just going to go under it and then sort of right next to it, digging in really gently. Like don't dig in and jam yourself. Just dig in gently so it feels good. Shake it out, making your face more supple, right? We'll do one more thing. You're going to take a big breath in, hold it, squeeze, move around a little bit, and let it out. A couple of regular breaths. Just trying to clear up the passageways, right? The sinuses. And again, big breath in, hold, squish, squeeze a little bit. Don't hurt yourself, just what feels okay. Let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Right, and then if you need to blow your nose, don't even have tissues in here. I normally do, but one of the cats, I'm not going to name any names, but he's white. He likes to attack the box of tissues and get inside and pull it all out. So sometimes, like if I have tissues around, I have to leave them upside down or wedged in somewhere where he can't get to them. All right. All right, so let's get down onto the floor because now we're going to go into the lower back a little bit. We've done a little bit of shoulder stuff. So all that breath stuff with the arms up and down, that should get into your rotator cuff, into your heart, into your lungs. But now we want to get down on the floor. As you can see, we have cat toys all over the place. That's actually the cat toy that gets to go under the couch and locate all the other cat toys that have disappeared. All right, so coming down onto your back. We're going to kind of, I don't know, today might be a little different. We're just going to pour ourselves, not so that you're going to go all the way onto your side, just starting so you're rolling across your back. If you're tight in your neck and shoulders, then let yourself kind of move through that part of your back up here. But if it's your lower back, and for me, it is my lower back, I'm just trying to roll across from one side to the other really slow, so that this whole sort of area where my tail is of fascia gets a chance to just be massaged and hydrated, right? I'm using the floor and my body weight to just massage it out. And if it feels like you want to go a little further, go for it. So for me, the tightness is really like between my greater trochanter and my sacroiliac. So right in there, like there's like a band of tightness. And so if I kind of pick up my knees, I can get in there a little deeper. So I'm starting to get a little bit bigger with that rolling, but taking my time. You can listen to your own body. So sometimes people say, and I know it's not true of the people in my room, but people are like, they complain about the problems they have with their body, but then they complain about how bored they are with working out or whatever. Feel into your body and listen in. It becomes so interesting, like just to roll from side to side and go, would this feel better in some other way, right? What am I doing here? So I'm going to start to add like a little bit of shear. So I'm on one side and I'm just going to rock back and forth, getting the whole sort of, it's not a plate of muscle, it's such a bad analogy, but let's say like the tectonic plates of my glutes and my rotators and the bones and all of the tendon in there to move around so that there's some shear force in there. I feel like shear and tectonic plates go together. Like shearing is when it's like that, as opposed to rolling through. So here would be rolling, I'm affecting the tissue in one way. Shear, I'm doing that, right? And then take it onto the other side. Maybe for you, it's something different. Okay, so as we're down here, we're gonna spend a little bit more time here. I'm starting to think of my spine really fluid. So it is fluid inside, like our brain through our spinal cord, the inside of all of that is really wet and squishy. And then it's supported by the cerebral spinal fluid, right? So that is, not only is it nourishing it, it's also taking away waste. So the cerebral spinal fluid is filtering through our nervous system 3 or 4 times a day, bringing the good juju and the nourishment and taking away the waste. So as I'm in that idea of this fluidity, I'm letting my spine start to undulate a little bit in little tiny ways. It doesn't have to be big. So I'm just freeing that up as well. Rolling, freeing, and I can start to get a little bit more onto one side or the other. But now I've softened up that tissue a lot. Like it's not feeling as bad. It still feels a little bit like, oh yeah, what did you do yesterday? Oh, well, I walked a lot and I did that ballet class. So there you go, without enough stretching. Let's add one more level of this for your hips, and that's just crossing your knee over and rolling from side to side. If you have a foam roller, you can also do some stuff on the foam roller. I actually did some this morning. You can let this drop all the way or not. Really listen to your own body. You don't have to push it beyond where it wants to go yet, right now, or even really ever, maybe. But if you come into a real dialogue where you're not like in the, oh my God, I'm so scared I might hurt myself, but you're in the, is this okay? Am I okay in here? That's a different conversation, to be in the, can I take this a little farther? Can I be gentle inside my body? Can I soften? Than being in the sort of grippy paralysis of fear, right? So see if you can let go of the fear of pain and just move into the actual sensation of like, how does this feel? Can I make it feel better? Can I move with it? Can I move through it? I changed sides just to let you know as I was in my monologuing. And then let's bring it in and just easy circles with your knees, letting that femur head down into your hip socket, just grease up that joint and change direction. The other thing that I've been doing a lot is a lot of breath work. I've been doing a lot of pranayama and a lot of breath of fire and Kapalabhati. So Kapalabhati, Bastrika, and then like all sorts of breath holds. So when you're starting to do stuff like that, you're shifting the way that the space is inside because you're doing all this work in there. So that can also make your back sore, right? So just so you know, when you start to do something new, it might take a little while to adjust. And sometimes that adjustment registers as pain, like I feel something, this is uncomfortable. And sometimes it's just sensation. So starting to really discern which is which, like, am I in pain or do I just feel something? Oh, let's press our pelvis up and then slowly lower it down. This could be very small, right? You could go just a little bit off the floor and down, or if you feel okay, all the way up. And I am pressing straight up, so my body's kind of coming up in one piece, and then I'm rolling down vertebra by vertebra. You could roll up and roll down, or you could just press up and press down. Listen into your body and feel. Often the rolling up and rolling down doesn't feel good to me, but doing it in one direction does feel somewhat better. So I don't know, listen into your body. Now I'm rolling up and rolling down, which probably can't see at all because I'm in my Rudolph suit, but play with that. And then when you feel like you're a little bit warmer, let's just shift the hips from side to side. But not very high, could be like just a few inches off the floor and shifting your hips from side to side. Let that massage through your shoulders and let your head look in the other direction. So I'm kind of like reaching with one hand and then reaching with the other as I shift from side to side, letting this movement inside my core have some fluidity. So I'm not trying to grip every muscle that I have. I am just letting my body move. And then come in and let's roll onto our side and come up. Oh my goodness, it feels like a whole new world up here. But I still feel the soreness in my back. So let's come up onto a cross-legged position and circle belly and guts, right? And as you're in the circle, see if you can relax your belly a little bit. Relax your guts. Oh, what if I let go of the tension that I held in my guts? What would happen then? Change direction. That's something that I spend time thinking about and trying to do. It's just releasing whatever I'm holding down there. We have this natural sort of vacuum packing that's going on in our body so that things aren't going to fall out. Like even if well, plus our tissue is holding it together. Excuse me. There is a cat right in front of me looking up at me with his little blue and yellow eyes. All right. So circled in both directions. Hopefully you circled in both directions. Arms out, side, side. Stretching from the inside to the outside and from the outside to the inside. Breathing. And then you're going to circle and take it forward. So this is another exercise that really helps my lower back when my back gets tight are these circles. And then let's just take it down the middle and shift slowly from side to side, taking your time. Breathing deep down into your belly so we're not cutting off the movement of our breath. We're letting the diaphragm push down into the organs. And then when you're ready, come up and shift so the other foot is in front. And we'll do the same side stretching. So yeah, I have hooves in this costume, which normally I tuck them up and under, but maybe it's just easier to put the hooves on my hands. It was 7 degrees Fahrenheit this morning up here. And then circle it the whole way around. Take your time. Head is reaching away from the tail, and we're getting this really nice 3-dimensional movement through our spine as we circle around sideways, forward, sideways, and then up, right? So here we are vertical, moving into the vertical plane, adding the horizontal, taking it forward into the sagittal plane, into the horizontal dimension, up into the vertical plane, right? So we're shifting around through these planes and through these dimensions. Yep, Anthony's awake. My yelling around woke him up. And let's add the spiral here. So it's spiraling in one direction and then the other, using your breath. Okay, and then take it forward and just release forward. I've actually gotten way too hot in this costume and have to go for the costume change and turn off the heat. So just releasing your back, letting go. And then when you're ready, roll it up. Coming up. And stretch your legs out in front of you. Just take an easy forward fold. There we go. Total change. Not a total change. I just had to add the underneath layer. Forward fold. I'm forwarding, folding. I'm forward folding with my feet kind of wide. You could do it here, but right now I feel like I need my back to open up more, so I need to go for this more open position. Forward fold, and I'm just going to shift a little bit from side to side. So again, I'm working so that my lower back has a chance to open up, but I'm also in this position letting my shoulders and arms relate to the floor, right? So there's a little push and then coming in, and let's come onto our backs on the floor again. And let's just get the front of the body a little bit more awake. Crossing over, one leg in, one leg out. If your back is hurting and this feels better to take up higher, go for that. Or to even do something like where you're touching the floor, that's another option. But reaching long through there feels good to me. And getting that contralateral patterning through my body. And relax, drop it down. Once you're down there, circle your shoulders in both directions. Circle them one way, circle them the other. Feel your scapula moving around on the floor. So you're juicing up all that, the subscapular muscles, the muscles that are between your ribs and your scapula, and just letting them mobilize, right? Massaging it out. If that feels too painful, maybe you want a little bit more padding under you, that's fine too. Let's take our arms up over our head, legs together, coming up, pulsing. We're going to flex through our feet and then point, and then inhale down. Exhale up, flex, point. Deep breath in. Exhale up, flex, point. Inhale up, flex, point. Deep breath. Feel your fingertips, feel your toes, bring it up. Flex, point. Touch it down, up, flex, point. Lengthen, up, flex, point. Inhale, last one, up, flex, point, and relax it down. Open your chest and lungs, open your wings. Turn your head from side to side. Free up your spine, free up your ribs. So let it all kind of pop and mobilize. And let's add the theta breath to this. So a soft, and we're just going to free up the spine for a couple of breaths. So big inhale, and then a long, soft hiss exhale a couple of times, freeing up the spine. Freeing up the guts. Becoming very fluid in your body and allowing fluid movement to express. Just letting it go. Breathe into it. And then let's take the, let's do the rolling from side to side. So elbows and knees, you're gonna open, roll it onto one side. Try to relax your head. Let this massage out your shoulders and your hips as you're rolling from side to side. Ideally, your head is gonna stay on the floor the whole time. So you're not fighting against the floor, you're just yielding into the floor, spreading across it and coming down to the other side. If you feel like you want to open through the middle, unfolding, go for it. Unfolding to the center, and folding it in. Open it up and close. Open it up and close. Open it up. Stay in that open position. Circle your feet and your wrists, ankles and wrists. Oh, I see there's a, and then change direction. The cat, speaking of cats on the table, it's so naughty. The one who's usually not so bad, the pea pod, is up there on the table. I can see her. Bend one knee, bend the other. Just roll a little bit across that. So bending and rolling. Stretching it out. Let's take a happy baby pose. Again, letting your body move in whatever way feels good to you in your happy baby. Listening in. I gotta go get her off the table. Just, it's like, if I don't see it, there's something I can do, but hey, get down. Okay, let's flip it over and let's actually take it into a downward dog. You can do this. We can also just be on hands and knees for a second if you want, but I need to stretch out my Achilles and through the soles of my feet. So I'm just going to come up to a downward dog, lifting up my heels, lowering my heels, both one, then the other, looking under one armpit, looking under the other, breathing into it. And then I'm going to lift both heels, scoop my belly in, roll it forward into a plank, finding my plank, head forward, heels back, dropping my head, pushing with my arms, rolling it up to the ceiling and lowering my heels. Heels high, scoop the belly in, roll it forward, find the plank, drop your head, push, roll it up to the ceiling, lower your heels. Heels high, belly in, roll it forward, find your plank, push, roll it up all the way and lower your heels, and then take it down onto hands and knees. Let's go opposite arm to leg. Reach it out, find the diagonal, bring it back into line, and come down. Reach it out, diagonal, bring it back, and come down. Reach, diagonal, bring it in, come down, reach, diagonal, in, down, reach, diagonal, in, long body, long lines of energy moving through your body, up, out, in, down, up, out, in, and come in. And let's do a elbows and knees, arch and curl. So arching, pushing the floor away and curling. Let's curl the toes under in the arch. Draw the shoulders down the back, chest moving forward. And then tops of the feet to the floor, around your spine, push in the curl. Toes curl under, shoulders down, chest open. And then pushing, shoulders can come up towards your ears, push into the floor. Arch and curl and arch and curl. And then let's do these wrist hand releve things. So you're just going to go up onto your fingers, lower, elbows down towards the floor, and then press, taking your weight forward. So shoulders connecting into your body as you move through it. It's like a plie releve, another dance reference, but with your hands and arms. So you're pushing up and through, stretching through the wrist and the fingers as you come up here. Two more. Weight can be as far forward as back as feels good for you. Last one. And then you're gonna move your hands around in different directions, just shifting your weight onto one and then the other, circling them out and then back, shifting from one hand to the other. And then you can come over the back of the hands and make little monkey fists, closing your fingers in. And we're going to do another thing here. So when we're talking about our shoulders, right, we're talking about this whole, it's not just in here. The effects are going to be out to our fingers, coming from our fingers into this upper quadrant of our body, right? These are super related. So if we're having shoulder issues, there's like a energy flow problem here, right? So we want to bring that back online. So a lot of hand, wrist, forearm stuff could be helpful. So I'm going to come down onto my forearms. I'm going to put my weight on them, and then I'm going to open my hands out and in. So I'm getting the radius and the ulna, 2 bones in my forearm, which are parallel here. And then as I twist, the radius twists over the ulna. So they're like this, and then you twist your hand, and it goes like that. So, but I'm trying to do that pushing into the floor. So I'm getting some hydration into the tissue in my arms and some differentiated relationship between each bone and the fascia. So it's much more 3-dimensional as I do this. From there, I'm going to take it into a forearm plank, pushing forward and backward, head forward, heels back. The further I go with this, the more challenging it's going to be. So it could be small or big, whatever feels right to you. And then take it down, all the way into the floor, and just soften into the mat. Bend your knees. What I do want to say about these guys that are, and gals, but the sort of movement fitness people, they're doing some cool stuff. Like I learn things, I get ideas from them too. So it's really cool to just be, this is the good thing about social media, is that you can learn things and see things that you never would have seen or learned without it, right? So I feel like that's usually how I use it. And if it becomes too doomy and depressing, I stop looking at it, which happens. And I can really feel it in my body when my body starts to go, ugh, and then I stop. So pay attention when you're in your world. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel bad? And sometimes, like, it's not that one thing is good or bad. It's good and then it's bad. It's good and then it's bad. So once you start to feel like, ugh, step away. All right, we're going to come into the Sphinx position, and you're just going to sink down into your shoulders and then push up. Sinking down, pushing through, sinking and pushing, sinking and pushing, sinking and pushing, and there's a cat up there who might just jump in front of the computer at any minute. Oh, there he goes. Forward, backward, pull and push. As you're in this push-pull, kind of firing up your pecs and your lats. Big breathing into your body. Let's do this. You're going to drop your head, look down towards your belly button. This is going to curl you up a little bit, and then pelvis is going to drop down, rolling through your spine and coming up, pulling through, lifting your legs. Drop the legs, drop the head, roll down through your spine, push, and then pelvis drops, pull with the arms, and lift the legs. Legs drop, heads drop, roll, heads, all the heads you have, all 3 of them. Pelvis drops, bring it through, and pull, exhale, push it down, and then roll it back through, lift the legs. Couple more times. Last one. Okay, we're going to lift up in this position and just a little in and out pulse. I used to do this all the time at Equinox with a pumping breath. So it's going to be a sniff through your nose, puffing and puffing. Oh, and there's a cat right by my feet. Pressing up. Good, and relax. Take it back, walk it back into a child's pose. Breathe, let the space in your lower back just open up. You can wiggle a little bit there, or just use the breath to open and close your body, whatever feels good to you. I can hear bad things happening in the house with the cats. I can't see where it's going on. There's Peapod's little head in the corner. Okay, let's come into elbows and knees and just shift your weight from side to side. And then walk it up to your hands, shifting again from side to side. Feel what that feels like in your body. And there, of course, is the Peapod with it. Yes, the battle is happening right in front of the computer. One tail on each side of the screen. It's such little. It's bad because I think it's so funny. Like they don't really get in trouble from me most of the time, even when they're bad, because it's funny. And it's like, oh, they're cats being cats. So I'm like, that's what they do. Anyway, I'm just trying to stabilize the computer so if it happens more, they don't knock it over. Oh, they're really funny. All right, let's actually come up onto our legs. Now that I'm standing up, it feels good to be up here. Feet wide, circles with your hips, mobilizing your spine. Think of your pubic bone and your tailbone steering this circle. So it's coming from the bones, but the tissue is really soft and easy. Organs mobilizing, change direction. Even like, so I was talking before about sort of being vacuum packed into our guts, like everything's sort of vacuum packed in there. Like it's not just going to fall out. Even if you like cut open your stomach, that idea of all of the guts falling out like sausages, that is not what would happen. They are connected to the mesentery. And so they wouldn't all fall out like that. Anyway, no, we're not linked like sausages. We're like sausages that are connected to a C-fan that has this mobility. But the rest of us also, like our blood pressure is a pressure system, right? There's pressure moving through there. Lymphatic moves with pressure. So we have these pressure systems in our body, and it goes, what is it? Low pressure, high pressure moves to low pressure. I don't know. I have to think about that again, because one of them pushes it, right? This is in the weather also. I learned this from Gil Headley, but then Perry Nicholson was talking about it too. Let's just do this cross body movement as I'm thinking about the high pressure and the low pressure. Is it low pressure moves towards high pressure or the other way? This is something that I should really understand, but at this moment I can't. Take it up. I'm going to look it up and I'll talk about it maybe next time. All right, and then circles, shoulder circles. Bending your knees, mobilizing rib cage, lungs, and heart with those shoulder circles. Yeah, I have a lot of information in me, but it's not always right at the surface. And at some point I learned it, and then it's like, but do I really know that? And the more I sort of go into inquiry, the less solid I feel about my facts, but the easier it is to be in the world. So there's a benefit for each one. Okay, we're gonna take our hands out to the side. Hitchhiking. You're gonna hitchhike, circling your hands back so that the hitchhiking is going backwards, then change direction, hitchhike, circling forwards. Hitchhiking, circling back. They're right out to your side, hitchhiking, circling forward. Hitchhiking, circling back. Hitchhiking, circling forward. And then let's push it out through the heels of the hands, circle it back and around, and circle it forward and down. Circling back and around, and circling forward and down. So by doing that, like if my hand's just out like that, tissue is kind of lengthening out. But when I add that flex through the heel of hand or the hitchhiking, I'm adding a little extra pull into the fascia. And then as I circle in one direction or the other, I'm giving that three-dimensional work into the fascia, right? So that it's hydrating. And if the fascia is moving, the nervous system is moving, the vascular system is moving, the lymph is moving, right? So if we get those systems moving together, all the systems are routed through the fascia because the fascia is the organ of form. So what does it mean? Like, let's just say that this is my three-dimensional sweater of fascia like this. And then like imagine it's fascia is means bundles. So it's a bunch of bundles together, and it's the casings of the bundles. So my nerves are either going to be coming through like this or the vascular structure or like this, but it has to move through the fascia because the fascia is the organ of form. So if it's anywhere in our body, that's what it's moving through. All right, and what does the organ of form look like? It looks kind of like a three-dimensional knit sweater, really hydrated, really worth seeing. Jean-Claude Gambartau, is it Jean-Claude Gambartau or Jean Gambartau? It's Jean-Claude Gambartau, Strolling Beneath the Skin. You can see what fascia looks like underneath your skin. It's really beautiful. All right, let's open wide. And we're going to arch, open chest, lungs, and heart, and then exhale, turn in and curl. Externally rotate, arch, open it up, internally rotate, curl, rounding your spine. So from the side, I'm turning it out, and then I'm turning it in. Inhale, open, exhale, close. So some of us looks like that sort of three-dimensional knit sweater with hydration, and also that those fibrils inside our body can shift around. They're not just locked into place. They have a lot of movement, and they can shift their relationships with each other. But we also have very dense, like coming down here, this big band of fascia down our lower back, which is what allows us to stand, right? And the same thing with our IT band. This tightness of this band ensures that when we're standing, we're not just going to fall down, right? It's not just our muscles holding us up. It's these big bands of fascia that are holding us up in conjunction with our bones. We're this system of tensegrity. So if we move anything anywhere, it affects the whole system. Okay, there's my big holism lecture for the day. Let's come down onto our sides. Onto your shoulder here and just sink into it and then push. Sink into it and push. Sink into it and push. Sink into it and push. And then keep it connected in, other hand up, either leaving your knees on the floor or off, and we're going to make a big arm circle on top. So we're moving that rotator cuff, hand, scapula, collarbone, or arm, scapula, collarbone, all connected. Change direction. And then take it down, swing your legs around, take it to the other side, elbow underneath you, you're on your hip and your elbow, and you're just gonna sink in and push up. I'm just leave that. I don't know what I do with my other arm on the other side. Sink, sink, and push, sink, and push. So you're letting that whole system move, and then you're bringing it in. And then we're gonna take it up into the side plank, big circles, following your hand with your eyes, chest, lungs, and heart open, and change direction. And then come down, both legs out. The front, we're just going to side stretch to open it up. Stretching one way, lengthening up, and the other way. Inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Let's take it down onto our bellies on the floor. So all the way down onto your stomach on the mat. Bending your knees, let your legs rock from side to side. Massaging out your quads, wagging your tail like you have a big, fluffy foxtail. And then taking it, just seeing if you can cross over, bringing it back through, crossing and bringing it through. It's just an option. But let's try this. It's another mobility exercise. What you're going to do is you're going to shift your pelvis, push with your arms, and come up, and then take it down to the floor. Shift the pelvis, push with the arms, and come up, and soften into the floor. Shift and bring it up, and take it down. Shift and bring it up, and take it down. Shift, up, and down. Shift. There's our suppleness, maybe. So you can kind of let yourself roll through it. Good. And let's add to it. So let's take it down, shift onto your hips, and let's take it into a little archy thing, and take it back down into the floor. Both knees bent, lift and open the hips and take it down. Butt down, body to the floor, roll onto your hip, open and butt down, roll through, hip, open it up, take it down. So we're letting like the pelvis have all of this different movement, right? The pelvis is facing up, butt is on the floor, hips down to the floor. So it's really three-dimensional, spiraling, arcing, taking it back down. Very three-dimensional movement as we're moving from our belly to our hips. Then we're touching with the points of our knees and our hand. Like we're dancing. All right, let's let that one go. And let's come back across, bringing the legs out in front, taking it down. Yeah, and my back is still tight. Like I haven't worked it through yet. I'm sure it will happen before the day is over. It's not as bad as it was, rolling from side to side, but I definitely can feel it. It's definitely from ballet, walking a lot and doing a bunch of breath work, right? So my body needs to adjust to that stuff. I'm going to stay on one side and just get the shear, moving around, squishing, side, side, up, down, circular, all the different ways. And then the other one, same thing. Getting into that. And if I lift my foot up off the floor, I can get even more up into this like upper glute minimus part. Same thing on the other side. All right, let's do a little bit more shoulder stuff. Let's do it from this position here. I'm going to take my hands behind and I'm just going to, how am I going to do this? Sink in and then lift and arch and push through. So my fingertips are pointing front. I'm curling and rounding down. And then I'm pushing, opening chest, lungs, and heart, pushing into my hands. Head cannot arch back if that feels bad, but if it feels okay, let it drop back. Exhale, I'm not totally dropping my head back, but a little bit. Curling forward, letting the shoulders come up and over, right? Pulling the mantle around you. And then pushing through, opening it up. Exhale, curling around, mobilizing the shoulders forward, lift and arch through. Exhale, curling forward. Inhale, lift and arch and come up, right? So we want to give them mobility. So much we've been told in life, pull your shoulders down, sit still. But we really want them to have all this capacity to do different things. So let's do these circles. You can do this seated in any comfortable position or standing, even sitting on a chair, anything like that. All of this stuff can kind of be adapted if necessary. Circling, big circles with your elbows. So you want to think of your elbows trying to touch together in the front and then opening as wide as possible. Your little chicken wings are circling around and change direction, other way. Let that go. Turn your head from side to side. Let's take our hands up here. So you're going to take one hand, just wrap around, and then turn your head from side to side. As your hands are up there, just tell yourself, everything's okay. You got this. Even if it's not true, just tell yourself that's what's going on. Everything's fine. And you can kind of walk your fingers down a little bit and pull. So I'm pulling the tissue up and out in my back. Let's see if I can show you. Going down, walking down, pulling the tissue up. And I can kind of move my body underneath my fingers. But that's because I don't have a lot of lotion on. Like if you got lotion, it might be too slippery. But this is going to affect the fascia. I'm circling, letting my hands come up, creating some space in that upper back, neck, upper traps, shoulders. And then let's go right here, hairline, very gently and easily, like kind of combing across with your fingers. So yeah, letting yourself comb through. A lot of the muscle fibers in your neck are going down like this, right? So if we just pull gently across, giving them more spaciousness. And some of the muscles that are, you know, your levator scapulae is connecting your scapula up into here. So we're just letting that have more juiciness as we move down. And then I can also kind of take my hands and make kind of like little blades on the side of my hands, and then just move my head inside of that. Head moving inside of that. Head and neck. So my hands might be moving, my head and neck are moving, definitely affecting all of this tissue. And then we're going to do something for the front. We started up there under our subclavian vein, which is under here, moving that. Now we're going to go under the clavicle, and let's pull from the out to the in. One pull in that direction from the edge, sort of, not quite, just sort of where your deltoid starts, pulling in and across. And then the same thing on the other side, 2 or 3 pulls out to pull in, just under the collarbone, right? So I'm kind of getting 3 fingers digging in there, moving across, pulling it in. And then we're going to go the other way. You're going to pull out. So it's better to pull than to push. So I can go in the middle and just both hands at the same time pulling out along here. And that will probably feel like, whoa, that tissue feels tight. If it feels kind of like knifey, that's tight fascia, right? So I'm moving down to just above my boobs, starting up here, pulling across. If it feels kind of weird, sandy and gritty, that sounds really weird, but that's kind of what mine feels like right now. That's a little bit of stuckness in there, right? Just opening that up. And then we're going to do one more thing there. We're going to go across your body, find about the middle here, and you're just going to kind of push up and in and move across. So let me just come closer. Here we are, going in and up. And I'm kind of trying to almost go under my clavicle and just pull in and across. And then breathe into that. So if you're holding your breath, you're like, oh, that hurts. Ugh. Then go lighter. You don't want to hurt yourself, but breathe into it. Same thing on the other side. You can kind of go right in the middle, go up and in. It feels kind of weird and gunky. Just pull through underneath. A lot of times when our shoulder stuff is going on, there can be a lot of tightness in the chest. So, and there's so much going on in here, right? So much emotion that we've held in, like, oh, not say anything right now. Oh, you know, giving us some space in there to free up some of the stuckness in there. It might not be held in emotion. It might be something else. Like there are other people that are just letting too much out all the time. There may be the other extreme. Yeah, so just getting in up there. And then we're going to come into the middle. So there's your tip of your collarbone. If you go down a little bit, there should be a little indentation. Everybody's body is a little bit different, so it might be different for you. It might not be in exactly the same place, but I'm going to take my thumb and my finger. I'm just going to circle in there. K27 point. Relax your face. Circle in both directions if you can, and then the same thing with the other side. So it's like we're kind of just tuning up this whole upper chest, lungs, thymus area. And then we're just going to Tarzan. Highly recommend making some noise with that. You could do it much more gently than me. I'm a very rough and tumbly type person. Like I like to really feel things most of the time. So if you're like kind of like, oh, that's too much, then just go really light, be easy. You don't need to do it full blast all the time. But sometimes it is good. All right, where are we? What time is it? Oh, we have been at it for a whole hour. So let's stretch our hips and just end it. So coming in to, let's go ankle to knee or any version of that. Actually, I'm going to do knee over knee. So I'm going to go with one knee over the other. I'm going to fold the other one in. You could also leave it straight and just sink down into my pelvis. And then I'm going to circle and mobilize inside of that. It could be a circle. It could just be free form. You can alternate directions. Do whatever you need to do. Bringing yourself into yourself, right? Anytime we kind of cross the body like this, it's a great way to call back our own energy and come into ourselves. Letting go. Maybe there's some forward, backwards, maybe some side, side. Just feeling into what your body needs. Taking your time. And when you're ready, letting it go forward, breathing into it. If I had done this stretch post ballet, I would not be feeling what I'm feeling today. But it's a live and learn situation. Sometimes I am just charging around too much to take the time to do what I know needs to be done. Breathe into it, let go. Big, deep breathing. And then coming up and opening your arms out. Side stretch over the top leg. And then the other way. And then come up and spiral to the right. And then spiral to the left. And then bring it in and unscramble and just shake out your legs. So I normally don't talk about things like this, but I'm just going to talk about it really quickly because I feel like it really affected me. So there was a band called The Specials that when I was 10 years old, I saw them on Top of the Pops in England. And like Gary Newman and The Specials were like two bands that just made sense to both me and my brother musically. And like such great music. And change it to your other side, other knee on top. I just saw a documentary. So recently, Terry Hall, who was one of the main singers for The Special, passed away at 63. And it's weird that he died just this past week, because about 2 weeks ago, I went on this bender of just watching all this stuff about The Specials. And so it's interesting that they were really in my reality. And then the singer passes away. So I've been just binge watching, circle around, all this music by The Specials, all these videos, interviews, all this kind of stuff. But then this documentary came out from the BBC, which was about Two Tone Records, which is basically the keyboardist started this Two Tone record company, and they were in Coventry in England. So it's the documentary is called Two Tone and the Music of Coventry, I think. But it talks about like what was going on politically and how Coventry was like an immigrant city. And so people from all over the world were coming there. And the two-tone record, like the two-tone was really black and white. We embrace both black and white, and we can make music together. And it's awesome. And it's bright and it's upbeat and it's talking about, what's going on in the world. So anyway, it's on, I found it on YouTube and watched it the other day and was like, oh yeah, this is great. And what people, sometimes you're making something at the time, like they're making that music at the time, they're living their lives and doing their things, not realizing how important that's going to be to people, for the rest of their lives. Like, anyway, I do regret that I never saw them in concert. Anthony saw them. I never saw them live. And then come up, open it out, side stretch. And lift and side stretch. And that's like the power of art and movement, like the movement of a movement. Like so I had a dance festival in the kitchen, just listening to The Specials and other like Selector and other ska bands. They were all on that two-tone. I think the English Beat, Madness, were all on that two-tone label. And that was really music that brought people together. It was multicultural music. It showed people that, oh, there are Black people and white people on stage, and it's okay. And I mean, I know that this is an old idea, but I think it's coming up so much in the US still, all the racism stuff, that sometimes we need to see a way that it worked to work out that people can be okay with each other. That's my Christmas thought, right? How can we be okay with each other? Is it through the art we take in, through the music we take in, through the movement we do together? Yeah, so like they would have people dancing on stage with them. At first it started out that they had fans that were kind of following them around. And so the Coventry crew would always, by the end of the show, be up on stage. And then it just became this thing that would happen, that the audience would be there dancing with the band on stage. And it's like there's an inclusion in that, right? There's not a separation, like, oh, I'm the great star and you're just these people watching. There was like a really inclusive thing about it. So I feel like that's super important. Let's slide our heels underneath, take your knees towards the floor and take it back. Yeah, just it's nice to find heart in things. And like, what is bigger heart than that, than people connecting and diverse people connecting and people seeing that it is possible, you know, and then taking your butt up to the ceiling and open your feet wide and shift it from side to side. And then bend your knees and roll it up. And it comes back around to this idea of what I was talking about, seeing movement on Instagram. Like people, things aren't real until people see images of it, right? Whether it's movement or racial justice or whatever. Like, and when we, like with the racial thing, like when you're dancing and you're feeling good and there's other people dancing and feeling good, it doesn't matter what color they are. Inhale, open. So we want to bring ourselves into those feeling states where our bodies feel good and we have enough space for all the other people on the planet, right? Because we feel good in our own body. Inhale, open. Exhale. I'm getting all emotional about it. And that is that. So anybody who made it this far in TV land, watch that documentary and like and subscribe. And also, I'm going to have an inner outer space class coming up on January 7th. It will be working for 2 hours on Zoom with the dimensions, up, down, side, forward, backward, the planes, and how they relate to what we feel and how we express ourselves in the world. But also, we have relationships with these things, right? We have relationships with music, we have relationships with art, we have relationships with people, relationships with ourselves. When we start to have a closer relationship with the space within and without, it shifts the world. So I highly recommend it. I will put the link